What's up, Gamecock Nation and college hoops fans everywhere? Before we get into this one, make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking women's basketball news. Drop a comment too, because this story is about to spark some serious debate. South Carolina fans, brace yourselves. This is not the news you wanted to hear. Just hours before tip-off, Dawn Staley's Gamecocks were dealt a massive blow. Agot Makeer is ruled out, and on the other side, Taniyah Latson is also unavailable. Two key names. Two huge absences. And suddenly, this matchup against Texas A&M looks a whole lot different. This isn't just about injuries. This is about depth being tested, rotation shrinking, and pressure rising in the heart of SEC play. Can Dawn Staley once again outcoach adversity? Or is this the moment where missing pieces finally catch up to South Carolina? Stay locked in, because we're breaking down everything, what really happened, how this changes the game, and why this matchup just became must-watch TV. Let's get into it. When the availability report finally dropped ahead of South Carolina's SEC showdown with Texas A&M, it landed like a punch to the gut. Not because of one name, but because of two. Two absences. Two very different stories. And together, they changed the entire feel of this game before the ball was even tipped. For Dawn Staley, this wasn't just another next player up moment. This was one of those nights where preparation, trust, and culture get stress-tested in real time. South Carolina, a program that has built its modern identity on overwhelming depth and defensive pressure, suddenly found itself walking into a hostile conference matchup with its rotation squeezed and its margin for error thinner than usual. Agot Makeer was officially ruled out. On the other side, star guard Taniyah Latson was also unavailable, removing one of the most explosive offensive engines connected to this matchup. Two names. Two absences. One game that instantly felt unpredictable. For South Carolina, the Agot Makeer news hit especially hard because of timing. Maker's role this season hasn't always been loud, but it has been important. She's been one of those players Dawn Staley trusts to stabilize moments, someone who can defend multiple spots, understand assignments, and not get rattled when the game speeds up. Losing her didn't just remove minutes, it removed flexibility. It meant fewer lineup combinations, fewer defensive looks, fewer chances to buy rest for the starters without sacrificing control. And that's the part casual fans sometimes miss. When Staley talks about depth, she's not just talking about talent. She's talking about trust. Trust that the next player knows exactly where to be, exactly when to rotate, exactly how to defend without fouling. Makeer had been earning that trust. And now, suddenly, she wasn't available. That forces ripple effects. Rotations tighten. Starters play longer stretches. Younger players get pushed into moments they weren't necessarily scheduled for. And against a physical SEC opponent like Texas A&M, that matters. Every possession becomes heavier. Every whistle matters more. Every lapse gets punished faster. Meanwhile, on the other side of the floor, Taniyah Latson being ruled out removed one of the most dangerous individual scorers connected to this game. Latson is the kind of guard who bends defensive schemes just by stepping onto the court. She forces early help. She drags defenders into foul trouble. She changes how aggressively teams can extend pressure. Without her, the offensive geometry shifts completely. But here's where the story gets interesting. This didn't suddenly make the game easy for South Carolina. If anything, it complicated it. Because when a team loses a high-usage scorer, the ball doesn't stop moving, it just moves differently. Shots get redistributed. Players who usually wait their turn suddenly become aggressive. And defensive scouting reports, built around stopping one primary threat, have to adjust on the fly. Dawn Staley understands this better than anyone. She's seen it too many times. A star goes down, and everyone else plays freer. Harder. With nothing to lose. So now you have two teams walking into this game under very different kinds of pressure. South Carolina, short-handed but still carrying the weight of expectations. Texas A&M, missing a star but freed from predictability. And right in the middle of it all is Dawn Staley, doing what she's done for years, controlling the chaos. Behind the scenes, this is where her coaching reputation really shows. Because when injuries and absences hit, the work isn't just tactical. It's emotional. It's about convincing players that what's missing doesn't define what's possible. Staley has always been honest with her teams. She doesn't sugarcoat absences. She doesn't pretend they don't matter. Instead, she reframes them. This becomes about opportunity. About responsibility. About who's ready to step into uncomfortable minutes and make winning plays. And that message has landed before. We've seen it when South Carolina has been without starters. We've seen it when foul trouble forced unexpected lineups. Time and time again, the program has responded not by panicking, but by leaning harder into defense, rebounding, and physicality. That's where this game was always going to be decided. Without Makeer, South Carolina's perimeter defense had to be sharper. Rotations had to be earlier. Communication had to be louder. There was less room for freelancing, less room for mistakes masked by substitutions. Every guard on the floor knew it. And the younger players? This was a test. Not in garbage time. Not in blowouts. In a real SEC game where momentum swings fast and the crowd gets involved early. That's how programs are measured. And then there's the psychological side. Because when you hear ruled out, it can go two ways. It can deflate a locker room, or it can sharpen it. With Staley's teams, history suggests the latter. Absences often turn into rallying points. Moments where leadership gets louder, not quieter. Veterans speak up. Bench energy rises. Defensive intensity becomes non-negotiable. Texas A&M, meanwhile, came in knowing they'd need to manufacture offense differently without Latson. That often means more motion, more attacking off the catch, more pressure on the rim. And against South Carolina's defense, that's a dangerous game, but also an opportunity if the execution is clean. So this matchup stopped being about names on a stat sheet and became about identity. Who could impose theirs first? Could South Carolina's defense overwhelm even without a full rotation? Could they turn stops into transition points and control tempo the way Staley prefers? Or could Texas A&M, freed from relying on one star, find balance and catch South Carolina in moments of adjustment? That tension is what made this game compelling before the opening tip. And for Dawn Staley, it was another reminder of the grind of an SEC season. You don't get clean paths. You don't get perfect health. You get adversity layered on top of expectations, and you're judged by how little you flinch. Make no mistake, losing Agot Makeer mattered. It tested depth. It tested endurance. It tested trust in the system. But if there's one thing South Carolina under Dawn Staley has proven, it's that the program doesn't rely on comfort. It relies on standards. Defend. Rebound. Share the ball. Compete every possession. That doesn't change because someone is out. And as the ball went up, that's what this game ultimately represented, not just a matchup altered by absences, but a snapshot of how elite programs survive the chaos of a long season. Because in February, no one is whole. And the teams that last in March are the ones who already know how to win without everyone.